Hello everyone, I am finally back to making more YouTube videos. I finally just moved into a new house, we've been renovating the place, been very crazy, been very busy. As you can see, once again, new surroundings, as you've seen in my last couple of videos the last couple of months. But the good news is, since we're almost settled and done renovating the house, you'll finally see me filming my videos in one specific location, unless on the occasion if I have to go travel for a certain thing. Oh yeah, in case you're wondering, this dog cage, not mine, it's actually my sister's because my brother-in-law and my sister, my family have been helping out renovate the house. And they have two dogs, and this is the dog cage. So anyway, in the meantime, here's my review on Creed 2 Finally. Creed 2 from 2018. Creed 2 is a sequel to the first Creed from 2015. Creed 2 came out on November 14, 2018. The film grossed $214.1 million at the box office, and is well received by critics and audiences. It got great reviews when it came out at the time of its release. Creed 2 was directed by Steven Caple Jr. Unlike with the first film, the film was directed by Ryan Coogler, but unfortunately he could not direct this film because he was too busy making Black Panther at the time, and could not commit to making two films at the same time. The film stars Michael B. Jordan, Sylvester Stallone, Tessa Thompson, Vishali Rashid, all reprising their roles in the first film, and Dolph Lundgren reprises his role as Ivan Drago. Warren Montague plays Victor Drago, the son of Ivan Drago and Adonis' opponent. The story to Creed is about Ivan Drago wants his son Victor Drago to fight Adonis Creed, and Adonis Creed accepts the challenge to fight Victor Drago, Ivan Drago's son, in order to redeem and redemption and revenge his father, Apollo Creed, after when Ivan Drago beat his father in 1985, Rocky IV. It's a rebound for the Creed family and also paying for the sins of the father. Creed 2 is definitely one of the best sequels of the Creed series. The way I would describe Creed 2 is like a combination between Rocky 2 and 4. Because if you watch this movie, you'll kind of analyze to death about the cliches and the same format what the original Rocky films did, and they combined it into one. Adonis Creed is a successful boxer after his fight with Mickey Conlan from the first Creed movie. As I mentioned earlier about this film being a combination of Rocky 2 and 4, one example I want to point out is when, just like in Rocky 2, when Rocky proposed to Adrian, Adonis proposed to Bianca. My first thought was, he's going to steal the same line that Rocky said in Rocky 2, asking Adrian, what are you doing the next 30 years? Would you not mind marrying me? But thankfully, that was not the case right here. At least Adonis came up with his own way of proposing to Bianca. When Adonis and Bianca are at the cafe, they see the ESPN news announcement about how that Ivan Drago wants Victor Drago, his son, to fight Adonis Creed. And when Adonis sees that news broadcast, he realizes that he wants to fight the Russian son for vengeance and redemption. But unfortunately, just like the same way Apollo Creed died, Rocky, Bianca, and his stepmother are all worried and concerned about him fighting the Russian son due to what happened to Apollo Creed in Rocky 4, worrying about if he'll die the same way, just like he did. So Adonis does accept the fight, but unfortunately he ends up losing the first round. Kind of like Rocky 3 in a way when he lost the first round to Mr. T in the first heavyweight champion fight. He refuses to train Adonis Creed and does not think that it's a good idea for Adonis to fight Ivan Drago's son, because he's worrying about that what if he'll die the same way that his father did, and he still feels guilt of not stopping that fight despite that he wanted to, but Apollo would not let him. After losing the first round to Victor Drago, Adonis is mad at Rocky for not training him. The fight to Victor Drago, Adonis Creed is mad, angry, sad, and upset, and has become distant around people. It just shows that no matter how much love and support you have around you, when you're hurt and broken inside out, the only person you can fix is yourself. The one that can figure out how to get out of his slump. How he feels after losing the fight to Victor Drago. This movie, it's not that he does not believe in Adonis that he can win against Victor. He's just like worried and concerned and trying to protect him and not sure that he's not going to make the same mistake that he did, like his father did, or that he did when he felt like he should have stopped the fight. Despite that Apollo did not want him to stop the fight, he would rather have gone out dying instead of whether winning or losing the fight. I like how we see that when Rocky and Adonis try to reunite after when Adonis was mad at him for not training him against the fight, he asks him, like, what are you fighting for? And Adonis said that he had high expectations and also that he was afraid and scared and worried about not living up to his father's legacy and potential. He explains to him how that he was not in the right mindset at the time when he fought Victor Drago, and that he shows him the same method he used when he fought Ivan Drago, how like he isolated himself from everybody, only focused on training because of what he was going up against, worrying that if he did not just focus on training, and had distractions, worrying about what if his distractions will like affect his fighting ability against a tough opponent like Victor Drago. Just like in Rocky 4, when Rocky trained in Soviet Russia in the cold, instead, Adonis Creed fights in the heat, in the desert. Little change up right there. You can tell so far in this review, I've been analyzing and comparing this movie to the other Rocky films. Yeah, like Rocky feels for Adonis of after when he lost the fight, because Rocky knows what it's like to lose a fight, not being well prepared physically, mentally, and emotionally against a hard opponent. Even though this is a brief and small part of the film, I like how we see when Rocky is like debating about wanting to see his son for the first time, and he's not met his grandson yet. I like it how like when he finally catches up and reconnects with his son, and when he meets his grandson, he sees how that his grandson looks identical to Adrian. Of like bringing Ivan Drago back and explaining how after when he lost the fight to Rocky, his wife left him, he got banned for steroids, and also how he gained and lost respect of Russia because they don't really take losing that well. The restaurant was very dramatic, and it really showed like the falling down of like Ivan Drago's life story after the loss to Rocky in Rocky 4. Ivan Drago is very hard on his son Victor because he wants to make sure that he does not lose to Adonis and lose the same faith and respect like he did to Russia after he lost to Rocky. There's a scene that I found very interesting at the same time was like very awkward because it was a scene where Ivan Drago and Victor Drago are at like some like dinner party. I'm not really sure exactly like where. They run into his wife for the first time in years, and Victor leaves the party because he never really forgave his mother for leaving his father after when he lost the fight to Rocky. It just shows how very dysfunctional they are, and also how like they need a lot of therapy, and it's gonna take years to get over something like that. Forgive and forget. Girlfriend slash fiance Bianca, we see how like as time has gone on, that her progressive here has gotten worse. She's about to marry Adonis, but she did not expect to get pregnant at this time. Feeling that she's not ready to have a child yet. Feeling like she's still like there's more that she wants to do with her singing career before settling down and getting married and having kids. Again, new surroundings. I just came back to Long Island to visit my family. In the meantime, here's the rest of my review of Creed 2. Before Adonis and Bianca's daughter is born, they question about whether or not that their daughter may get progressive hearing loss because it can be a genetic disorder. Born when they test on her, it's very like sad, and it made me cry seeing like how their daughter has progressive hearing loss, despite that it's only early stage. It doesn't mean that one test doesn't mean that exactly it's the end all. That maybe as time goes on, the test results may change, but I guess we'll see that in the future sequel. Understand Bianca's fear of Adonis dying in the ring the same way his father Apollo Creed died. The fear of their daughter growing up not having the father in the picture, and that the father did not get to see his daughter grow up. Fear of like being a single mother raising a child all by herself, like mothers can relate to if their husband died earlier. Or in these Rocky slash Creed reviews, fight scene awesome, spectacular, and just so realistic. Again, it feels like you're watching a real fight, especially how you want to see Adonis fight Victor Drago and avenge his father's death and pay for the sins of the father. So like how like before the fight, the intro song that Bianca sings, "I will go to war." It's not necessarily the song is like representing of like what Creed is like fighting for, revenge, redemption, paying sins of the father. When Adonis finally wins the fight against Victor Drago, I like it how like at the end of the movie he goes to the cemetery to see his father for the first time. It was like a way of Apollo Creed could finally like rest in peace, knowing that his son defeated the fighter and the Russian boxer, the son. Creed 2, I'll admit, it's not like the greatest, or it doesn't top like Rocky 2, 3, and 4 as like the best sequel. It still like manages to be consistent, it still manages to be like fresh. I mean, none of the ideas are original. It's still like a fair and solid film in its own way. And it still like manages to try at least to do the best they can. 3 that Michael B. Jordan's going to direct. I just wish that he was gonna like fight someone that was like a little bit different and not fight like Mr. T's son. It's like, can it just like focus on each sequel where like Adonis Creed fights a different opponent and fighter rather than like someone of Rocky's former opponent's sons? I mean, like what's next? Tommy Gunn or Mason like Dixon's son he'll fight? I mean, come on, like really? I mean, again, nothing against Mr. T. I love Mr. T. Just wish they could just make up new fighters than like where Adonis is fighting Rocky's opponent's sons. A little bit like cliche and a little bit boring and tiring after a while to see him fight